So to begin, just come into Tadasana, standing pose, and then take the right leg up, bending the knee, and just for a moment feel the standing foot. Take the right leg closer in towards the belly, just holding it with your hands, and then we're going to pulse, bounce ever so gently through the standing leg to build the strength in this leg and also to try and sense how does the knee move over the foot. So you're building up the sense of how weight distributes. Here from the side, the knee just pulling in, so you're just on one standing leg. It's just simply about standing on one leg now and feeling how the weight distributes along the axis. So choosing something to concentrate on: foot, pelvic region, heart region. We push back into warrior three and try to have the same idea. Concentrate on something in the midline. Foot, pelvis, and that's about it in the midline. We're pushing up back into the standing. Just take a moment to swing the knee. Try to not concentrate on the swinging so much as the weight distribution on the standing axis. Okay, so the first series is about how we choose where to concentrate along the midline. Foot, pelvis, the weight of the chest. Here, just bending the knee, bouncing a little bit to try with your feeling sense and not with your eyes or with your logic or anything else to sense what is the right movement for my knee. How can I control the movement of my knee with the upper thigh, with the thigh. Pushing back through the midline into warrior three. You don't have to come too low, actually staying a little bit higher in the chest, thinking cobra, and just checking again with the midline, the weight, the foot, the pelvis. Coming back to the standing again, it's about weight along the midline, swinging the knee. Okay, so that was the first thing, building up the attention along the weight, along the midline, the axis, building up from the feet, through the legs into the pelvis, the belly space, the chest space, and the throat. These are places where your breath will help you remember the midline. You're just following, copying the swinging motion, the ease of the swinging pose there. The elbows loose, the knees loose. Because now we're coming to a tree. So now the second thing we learn is to lighten the pose. Take the easy tree form first, so set the foot against the lower part of the leg. And we don't press here, we just set it again. First, do what we did before, build up foot, pelvis, the weight organization along the midline, choosing to concentrate there. I had Hakini Mudra. It's a mudra with all the fingertips together, placed low, close to my abdomen. It helps concentrate on the midline. Now we're coming to the full, or to the higher expression of, better, rather than saying higher, let's just say a little bit more difficult, a little bit more challenging. Setting the foot onto the thigh close to the pelvis. And now we're pressing against the foot with the thigh. So coming first to a position where we take the hands in front of the heart, Anjali Mudra. And see if you can stay there until you can loosen some of the muscular activity. Not along the midline, pressing the foot against the thigh, but in the rest of the body. So we can take that work into Uchita Hasta Parangushtasana. So bending into the knee so you can grab the big toe with the left hand, and then with the exhale you straighten through all the limbs, not quite to the end. I'm turning the gaze here, but let yourself, so we're trying to not follow the eyes. So this build-up is to try and see how we don't need the eyes, the external eyes, so much to come to balance, more sensory experience where we choose to sense. The midline, foot, pelvis, heart space, chest, this build-up. And then letting go of some of that extra work, so trusting that you can just let go. Just take a moment between the poses, at least I will do, to move into the swinging motion. Just simply also to allow the mind to sense motion in the moment. The standing balances are a bit more static and require us to sense the movement within the stillness. We're just loosening between the poses. Okay, on the other side. So this is still the second theme of loosening the unneeded tension. So lightening the pose. The, let's say, easier variation of tree pose, setting the foot against the shin, just so that we come into the balance. Setting the hands in Hakini Mudra, close to the abdomen, and concentrating there. And then just let go. Let go of some of the work in the shoulders and the upper arms. Some of the tension in the legs, definitely the tension in the face. Taking the foot higher if you want, practice a bit more. Now we do need a bit more tension. Press the foot against the thigh reacts, presses against the foot. Okay, first stage, build up the attention, the organization of weight. Foot, pelvis, chest, perhaps also the head. And then as we stay in the positions, this is what stillness allows. Stillness allows us time to notice, can I shift my mind to an idea of lightness? And then you can try to push from the foot and open the breastbone up to the sky. So the face is turning, but it's not the eyes that lead. It's not the eyes that lead. It's the sensory experience that leads. The foot presses and sends an impulse up to the heart, up to the chest, up to the breastbone to open up to the sky. Okay, turning to the side so you can see it from the side. Taking this idea into another standing balance, Uchitahasta Parangushtasana. Grabbing the big toe with the right hand. You can do the same pose with the knee bent. You don't have to have the legs straight. You can also have the hand on the knee and just have the foot hanging low. So here we've let, on the second idea, letting go of some of the unnecessary tension, trusting that you can do that. And then as you turn the gaze, let the eyes not lead, but try to follow the movement of the head, the back of the head. Allow the back of the head to be in constant motion and sense that as you turn the head, rather than following the eyes. Come back to center and loosen yourself into Tadasana, standing pose. Feet. So the essence is also the feet clear, feet quiet, feet calm. Inhaling Urdhva Hastasana, exhaling, falling into Uttanasana. A little stretch. Walking back into down dog. Again, just stretching out, moving through. Knees to the floor. Perhaps you want to take a moment in the child's pose. Relaxing into the thighs, into the calves, into the feet and toes. And letting the inner eye also relax. So not concentrating too much on anything. This is what we're trying to learn in balance poses, not to concentrate, not to fixate too much. So that is definitely the second stage. First we need kind of strong concentration to learn, so the body and the sensory experience learns. And then we want to let go of some of the concentration. Walking forward from there, so you're pulling yourself up from the child, moving through Uttanasana, coming back to the standing pose. In Tadasana, we can just check in with the quiet in the feet. Quiet in the feet. We're now moving into Natarajasana, the dancer pose, and we're going to take what we learned into this. So pulling the left foot towards the buttock and grasping the foot with the left hand from inside or outside, doesn't matter. And then simply let the weight move in a pendulum form. The upper body moves a little forward, the leg moves a little back. So you're just reorganizing the weight of the body. It's about the standing legs. First we check out the weight distribution along the foot. How the weight distributes on the foot will give us clues how the whole weight of the body is distributing. between all the directions. To pull yourself out, pull very actively through the long arm. So here it was the right arm pulling very actively through to the sky as you push the standing foot. So you bring attention into that vertical line. You can see on the right side, as we start, the knee and the thigh are trying to stay together. So also as I tip a little forward, not losing that midline too much. Yeah, let's take that into a bit longer moment in the pose. For me, is perhaps a little bent. See what works for you so that the thigh works. So you can control the foot, trying to shift very subtly into the foot, how the pelvis is organized over the foot. Lightening the work in some of the muscles that's not needed. You're pushing into the hand with the kicking foot. You're pushing up to the sky, reaching up to the sky with the kicking toes, with the right toes. Pulling back out with the left hand, reaching up to the sky, coming into Tadasana, mountain pose. Feet clear. Okay, so just to relax out of that work. Working to build up strength, subtlety, feeling trust in the legs. The build up of the midline. So here just a few options to and then pulling the knees gently into back chest, still remaining floor. With a priority on the contact with the floor, opening into happy baby. So you're softening into the thighs, into the calves, the feet, the shoulders, the forearms. You give weight of the limbs and let the back be long. Soften the face. Okay, a nice stretch to work on the front line, especially over the front thigh, is the saddle pose. Supta Virasana would be the full expression. So if you want to do the full expression with both legs at the same time, you can do. Here the half saddle, it's actually just, sometimes this version is as intense or more intense than the full saddle. It depends how your back is positioned when you come into the half or the full variation. You can also come up on your forearms, so you're just leaning a little bit back rather than lying completely to the floor. Also, what is often done is to settle, and actually mostly done is to settle a cushion or a rolled blanket or something, a support under your back. I'm just showing you there, that's an option, nice option to stretch out the front of the thighs. The thighs that work a lot. Here. Okay, you can either come up, back up into the seat and organize yourself into the half or the full saddle from there. Or you can, if it's comfortable for you, just organize yourself from the floor. And remain easy there. Let the exhale soften the front of the body. So the balance work we did, there's like 3 points. One was noticing the build-up of weight along the center line. What can you feel, like clear feeling? Feet, the weight of the pelvis, the weight of the chest, the skull as well, but it's actually predominantly the build-up of the others in the lower part of the body that will help us organize the weight. The second stage, we start in Vrikshasana, in the tree pose, is to lighten the pose. Organize the weight and lighten the work. The image of the tree is beautiful because the wind is always moving through the tree. The leaves are soft, the branches move, they have a softness. And then the third thing, there's lots of things, but the third thing that we can also learn here is this attention on the breath line. So trusting that you've done the first two things, built up the weight, softened a bit of the work, and then that you can watch how the breath moves along the midline. It keeps you centered because the breath moves right in the middle of the body. Okay, here's the last option, just inverting. Choose your inversion. Maybe it's nice just to settle the legs up against the wall, Vipariti Karini. Just to allow the legs to be supported for a moment rather than the other way around, vice versa. So just thanking them also for the work they've done and allowing some of the buildup of energy to soften, release, flow.